What's happening, guys, and welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is full of amazing moments. Cap picking up Thor's hammer, Mysterios mind games, any part of Thor Ragnarok. They are killing it, and with these Disney Plus shows being released one by one, it doesn't look like Marvel is going to stop anytime soon. That being said, there's still a few moments that Marvel wishes that you could forget. Here to count down some of those moments, I'm Taylor McWatters. Let's do it. Number 10, Thor's eye. Taika Waititi arguably saved Thor. He gave the character a complete makeover. He made an extremely fun sequel, and the stakes were still extremely high. There's some major MCU moments in this film. Hela breaking Thor's hammer with her hand, Thor getting a haircut, Asgard is now gone, Odin also gone. It's a lot. Now, near the end of the film, Hela takes Thor's eye out as well. It's a huge moment for him because while he's getting his ass handed to him by his evil sister, he has these visions with his father Odin, and they bond in these visions. Thor explodes, he saves the day with a handle on his new lightning ability, and the last shot of the movie is Thor sitting on the throne with his eye patch. And he looks just like Odin. It's a beautiful look. And then come Infinity War, he slaps in a new eye, and the iconic eye patch was just gone that fast. Now, in the Art of Avengers Endgame book, there's concept art of Thor still with the eye patch. So they were close, but maybe it was better for Thor's redemption to be entirely his own come Endgame. I like the eye patch, honestly. It gives me like Kurt Russell, Captain Ron vibes. And before we continue on with this list, guys, if you want to go ahead and give us a thumbs up on this video, those likes add up and it really does help us working from home and in studio. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. Now let's get right back to this list of weird MCU moments. Number 9, Edward Norton. Now, of course, we have to mention recast, especially when it's this big. Whenever people talk about rewatching the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you know, to refresh yourself before the next movie or the next show, there's always the question, do we skip the Hulk? I mean, chronologically, it fits in right after Iron Man 1, and William Hurt plays the same character. He plays General Ross, and he's still playing General Ross in the current MCU. But now the Hulk is completely different. Marvel decided not to bring back Edward Norton, not because of money, like some other people that I'm not even gonna mention on this list, but because they needed an actor who embodies the creativity and collaborative spirit of the other talented cast members. So Edward Norton's team did respond, saying it was indeed about money, but this isn't the first time Edward Norton's been on the naughty list. Number 8, Spider-Man Homecoming. One of my favorite Spider-Man movies of all time is Spider-Man Homecoming. It's pretty close to Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2. They're both so different, but they're both so good. Now, when Spider-Man Homecoming takes place, well, that's a bit confusing. See, there's a flashback to the events of 2012's Avengers at the beginning of Spider-Man Homecoming. And then it says 8 years later, and boom, the movie starts. So that means Homecoming takes place in 2020. Although the film also tells us that Homecoming takes place a few months after Civil War, which happened in 2016. So in an interview with Infinity War co-director Joe Russo, when asked about the time gap between Avengers and Homecoming, he said it was 8 years, I believe. A very incorrect 8 years. And I thought the timelines in Endgame were confusing. God, my brain already hurts. Number 7, The Mandarin. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is directed by Destin Daniel Cretton and screenplay written by David Callahan. It stars Simu Liu, who you recognize from CBC's Kim Convenience, as Marvel's first Asian superhero. Now, everything in that first trailer looks amazing. The fight choreography, so good. And the villain is set to be the Mandarin. The actual Mandarin this time around. The Mandarin made his first appearance in Tales of Suspense issue 50. He wields 10 magical rings, each controlling a unique force. Now, the 10 rings aren't just physical items as well. No, it's the name of the evil organization that was working alongside Obadiah Stane back in Iron Man 1. They were the ones who actually held Stark captive in that cave. You could actually see their logo in the background, and you briefly see it again in Ant-Man as well, in the form of a neck tattoo. So they're still in the MCU, it's still a thing. So while we're super excited about the real Mandarin villain coming to life, we sadly have to reflect on the waste that was Ben Kingsley in Iron Man 3, when he played the Mandarin, well, the fake Mandarin. Marvel and their fake characters, oh boy. He was in fact not the supervillain Mandarin, rather his name was Trevor, and he liked crushing beers and watching sports. Number 6, Black Widow and Bruce Banner's relationship. Remember in Age of Ultron when Black Widow was the key to calming down Bruce Banner? They were in love, right? I think. I mean, they were flirting at the beginning, and then even Steve Rogers was like, hey, you're not breaking any bylaws. Have at it. And then at Clint's secret family farmhouse, they're talking about running away together. And then after all this time in Age of Ultron, Bruce returns to Earth. He says hi to Nat in Infinity War, and then she says hi back. That's kind of it. Well, according to the Infinity War co-screenwriter Stephen McFeely, he said they certainly wanted to do more. There was a clear romance that was left behind. In an interview with IndieWire, the director said, "We have scenes, we wrote them, we shot them, of them sort of hashing it out. You've been gone, I've moved on, that kind of stuff, blah, blah, blah. It became very clear that if a scene was not on the A plot, it would not survive Infinity War. That thing has to be on rails just to get to the finish line. I mean, sure, that's fair, that's totally fair, but I feel like if it wasn't going anywhere to begin with, it didn't have to be there. Besides, we have Betty Ross in the MCU as well. She still exists. The pesky Incredible Hulk plot coming back to haunt us years later. Number 5, the leader. Another huge villain teased in the MCU, but you may have forgotten about this one. Samuel Stearns, played by Tim Blake Nelson, was teased to become the villain at the end of that Incredible Hulk film. He got his hands on some of Bruce Gamma radiated blood, and when it was injected, his head started to become bigger. So what was this all about? Where was this going? Why was his head growing and looking weird? So Sam made his first debut in Tales to Astonish issue 62. He was working one night at a chemical research plant, and when he was moving canisters of waste material, one of the containers broke open and covered him in gamma radiation. He went from being smart to becoming a super genius. His brain could absorb more and more information. It got to a point where his physical body, of course, started to mutate. So now he has this giant green brain head. And he started to refer to himself as the leader, using his intellect to become a criminal mastermind. He clashed with Banner numerous times in comics. In fact, he actually ruined Betty and Bruce's wedding at one point. The Red Leader also joined the Thunderbolts in Volume 2, Issue 6. So maybe he'll return when those guys finally come together on the big screen. I mean, it looks like it's happening right now with Zemo and Ross at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So maybe he's coming back. But as of right now, who knows? Number 4, Cap's love life. Since the first Captain America film, Steve has been head over heels for Peggy Carter. They talk about finding a dance partner, the pacing is done really well, there's a genuine romance building between the two. So when Steve puts the plane down in the water later on in that film and sacrifices his life, the last thing he thinks about is Peggy. It's super nice, it's thoughtful. And then comes Civil War, we have Steve just making out with her niece, Sharon Carter, in the airport. It didn't come out of nowhere. I mean, she was in the Winter Soldier sequel, but still, it's a bit weird for me. But what makes this PDA in the airport more forgettable is the fact that Sharon is basically a villain now, as of the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We see in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, after the snap, she was just abandoned. She was part of a deal that if she helped take down the Flag Smashers, then her dark days as a crime boss would just be pardoned during that dark snapping time. Then a post-credit scene in Falcon and the Winter Soldier shows us this pardon, and then immediately she makes a call trying to line up buyers for secret government tech. Cap sure knows how to pick them. Damn. Number 4, Adam Warlock. In one of the many after-credit scenes in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, we get a hint at Adam Warlock being introduced into the MCU. He's a perfect sovereign created by Aisha to likely be used against the Guardians of the Galaxy in their next adventure. Now in the comics, Adam was created by the Enclave, a group of scientists who just wanted to create the perfect being. Makes sense why Zac Efron was rumored to play that part, okay? He's even referred to as just that in the short after-credit clip. More powerful, more beautiful, and more than capable of destroying the Guardians of the Galaxy. Now in Thor the Dark World, Eric Selvig wrote the Vault on a chalkboard among his notes on the Convergence. And in the comics, the Vault was a tear in space that was sealed by Adam Warlock. So the after credit scene in Thor the Dark World also gave us a much closer look at Adam initially. So in the after credit scene, Thor and Lady Sif visit the Collector to hand over the Reality Stone. And then in a glass case, we see a cocoon that looks just like Adam Warlock's cocoon. Guardians of the Galaxy director James Gunn admitted years later that he made a mistake putting that in, because at the time, he just wanted to put fun stuff in the Collector's Museum. He didn't know how serious people were gonna take the Easter eggs. Oh, buddy. You have no idea. Number 2, the Gauntlets. In Infinity War, Eitri is forced to make the gauntlet for Thanos on Nidavellir, the same place that Thor gets Stormbreaker and makes it just in time to join the battle in Wakanda, which would be on a list of best MCU moments for sure. But we did see an Infinity Gauntlet before this movie, a couple times actually. In the first Thor film, it was seen in Odin's vault. Now, come Thor Ragnarok, they fixed this with a simple shot. Hela walked by and said, "Fake," as she tipped it over. Cool. All the fans were like, okay, we understand that one, we're cool, we're on board. But a post-credit scene in Avengers Age of Ultron really got fans excited, and for no reason at all, it seems. The after-credit scene shows Thanos putting on a gauntlet saying he'll do it himself. Now, it's actually a really crazy after-credit scene. I remember the theater went kind of nuts. Infinity War screenwriters insisted that this is just a practice gauntlet, which is fair. I mean, you need practice to get that weight down. Because how embarrassing would it be if he goes to snap and it was like, damn it. Sorry, it's a new gauntlet. I've had like 2. And finally, number 1, the Bifrost Bridge. The climax of the first Thor movie was Thor making the ultimate decision to destroy the Bifrost Bridge. It's a huge moment. This means he won't see the love of his life again, and he saved Jotunheim from Loki, which is great. That's the main goal here. Now, when Thor returns on Earth in the Avengers, it's explained that this happens because Odin used dark energy. And at the end of Avengers, they used the Space Stone in order to go back. So far, this is making sense. But in Thor the Dark World, that bridge is just fixed. It's back to normal, and we didn't really get an explanation. Or did we? In a tie-in comic, Thor the Dark World Prelude, written by Craig Kyle and Christopher Yost, it shows just exactly how they fixed it. This comic showed Thor using the Tesseract to let the fires of Bifrost burn once more. And voila, Thor the Dark World now makes sense again. Although we didn't see it on screen, we do have a slight explanation, so we'll take it. Well guys, there you have it. The MCU is full of amazing moments, so let us know in the comments down below which of those moments are your favorite. We'll end this on a much happier note. Thanks so much for tuning in to Top 10 Nerd. I've been your host, Taylor McWatters, and we'll see you next time. Stay safe.